Welcome to the next lecture of Mechanics of Material. This is Salman, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, ISL Engineering College. So, in last class, we were discussing about moment of resistance on various composites, various composite materials. Now, we are going to see a problem on it. So, in this, they have given the problem in which a cast iron beam is made, which is of I section, and it is carrying a UDL, and they are saying that the maximum tensile stress is not to exceed 20 mm square, 20 Newton per mm square. Find the safe uniform load which can be carried for the maximum compressive test. They are not saying maximum tensile stress, they are saying maximum compressive test. So, how to solve this kind of problems? So, let us take what is the type of beam they have given. First of all, they have clearly mentioned the beam is simply supported. So, I am drawing a simply supported beam, and they have specified it is carrying a UDL, safe uniform load, uniformly load. So, I am using UDL here, but whereas they have never specified the value of UDL. So, I am taking it as W Newton per meter. I do not know the value, so I am considering it as W, but whereas span of the beam is given as 5 meters. So, I am taking the span. So, once you know this, you can able to calculate the value of RA and RB. So, what is the procedure is you can go with shear force bending moment diagram, like RA plus RB is equal to W, and next taking moment about point A, you can calculate RB into 5 is equal to W into 5 into 2.5, you can do that procedure, or you can directly take the value we have discussed yesterday in some, I have shown you a few figures, and they have in which you have calculated the maximum bending moment. Obviously, I have told that the maximum bending moment of this will be at the center, So, the moment, what will be the value if we are carrying, if it is carrying a load of W is nothing but WL square by 8. So, this is that will be the maximum moment when it is a UDL, between a simply supported beam. Okay. So, W we have to calculate, length is given, so 5 square by 8. So, this 8 is fixed for the UDL. Now, the section they have given is as a I section, and they have given the dimensions of the I section. The web is given as 80, 20, another flange is given as 220, but whereas the lower web is given as 440 into 160, they have given the dimensions. So, we have discussed already. So, when you are bending like this, the I section will bend like this. So, which I have written here. So, it will bend in this way. So, the upper surface will undergo the compression, the lower surface will undergo tension. So, for this, how to identify the neutral axis which is present here. I have to identify the neutral axis which will be present at the center. Okay. So, how to identify the neutral axis? Nothing but by identifying the centroid. How to identify the centroid? Here we have 3 different sections, 1, 2, 3. So, I have to take first of all y1, y2, y3. What will be the y1 for this is nothing but y is nothing but the vertical distance. So, what will be the y1 of this is nothing but half of this length. What is the half means 20. Again, what will be the half of this length is again 200 by 2, but whereas we are considering this point as my origin, you might have already solved this kind of problems in engineering mechanics. So, again I am revising once. So, if I consider this as origin, this 40 is already fixed, plus half of this length, is nothing but 200 by 2, 100 plus 40. So, the value is 140. Next is y3 for this section. How to identify the CG for this section is already this total length is available from the origin, 40 plus 200, 240. So, this out of 240, this CG of this section which is of height 20 will be around at a position of 10 from the base. So, from this position it is 10, So, the total distance is nothing but 40 plus 100 plus 10. So, it is like 250. Now, what is the value of, or what is the formula for CG is nothing but y is equals to A1 y1 plus A2 y2 plus A3 y3 by A1 plus A2 plus A3, where your A1 is nothing but the area of this first section, A2 is nothing but the area of second section, A3 is nothing but the area of third section. Okay. So, we will calculate the values, we will do the calculation, we will get the answer around 90.67 from the bottom. Why? because I have considered my origin at this point, I have considered my origin at this position. So, whatever value we are getting will be from the bottom. Okay. From bottom means the y max or y minimum, y max which you get from the moment of resistance equation, m by I is equal to sigma by y, that y will be from the bottom axis. But here they are asking for compression, here they are asking for compression, then you have to measure the, for example, this is the what distance you have got, 90.67. So, what is the distance you have obtained is the distance from the axis to the lower axis to this, but whereas the compression is present at the top surface. So, you have to take y value from this location to neutral axis or the CG. So, total is how much? 200 plus 20 plus 20 plus 40. So, around it is 260. Okay, out of 260 this lower value is 90.7, means the upper value will be around 110. Okay. So, the upper value you have to measure. So, the y top it is around 169.33 mm from the top. Okay. From the bottom it is 90.6, how much it was actually? 200, 240, 260, 260. Out of 260, 90 is gone, means obviously you have to get 170. So, 170 you have got. Once you got the 170, you have to measure. Y means you have the relationship, m by I is equal to sigma by y is equal to E by R. M by I is equal to sigma by y is equal to E by R. According to that, you have to identify the I value. So, what is moment of inertia of first section is nothing but I axis of 1, that is nothing but I axis, that is nothing but the moment of inertia about x axis of its CG, that is nothing but about its own CG. First you have to measure. So, I x 1 is nothing but what will be which line you are cutting. In y axis you are going, means you are cutting 40 degree, you are cutting 40, the length which you are cutting is 40, about x axis means, so it is 40 cube into 160 divided by 2 plus area 160 into 40 into total CG minus CG of that particular section. Total CG is 90.67, particular section CG is 20. Now you can ask, sir, from the top you have taken. No, the CG if you take from top or bottom, the overall value will be remain same. So, no need to worry about it. Only thing you have to bother is only taking y value. Other things will be casual, as usual you can follow. So, 90.67 minus 20 the whole square are going to get the value as 3.287, 282 into 10 to the power of 7 mm power 4. Similarly, I2 is equal to Ixx2, where Ixx2 is nothing but moment of inertia of the section 2 about its CG, along x axis, then it will be like BD cube by 12. Okay. What is the length you are cutting here is nothing but you are cutting here 200 length. So, it will be 100 cube into 10 divided by 12 plus whatever the remaining values A1, A2 into H2 is nothing but the distance. What is the distance? 90.67 minus, here we have got the y2 value as 140 the square. So, you will get the answer. I3 is equal to same procedure you will follow, that is nothing but which distance you are cutting now is nothing but the height of this. So, this is you are cutting. So, 20 cube into 80 divided by 12 plus 20 into 80 into 250 minus 90.67 the whole square. So, you are getting these values. Okay. We know that m max is equal to WL square by 8, that is similarly equal to sigma max into I by y. Here we sometimes even write it as z, that is nothing but section modulus. Here we don't know section modulus, so we are writing I by y. Okay. So, 3 w into 5 square by 8 you are going to get the value as 3.125. So, 3.125, but whereas this is in Newton per meters. So, since all our units are in mm, I have to convert this into mm. So, when you multiply with 1000 it will become 3125 weight. Okay. 3125 W is equal to 20 into 9.67. Why this 20? In the question they have clearly mentioned that maximum stress is confined to 20 Newton per mm square. So, 20 into I value have got, total I value is 9.67 into 10 to the power of 7. So, 9.67 into 10 to the power of 7 divided by y. So, if you use this y, you are going to get it from the bottom, but whereas for compression here I have changed. So, this is for generally finding the value of sigma W. For this we are using for identification of W. Once you identify this W, or once you identify the value, you are going back for sigma compressive maximum, because in the question they have clearly asked you both the values. Okay. So find the maximum compressive stress also they have asked. Next they have find the safe uniformly load, both they have asked. So find uniform load is nothing but you can use either top or bottom, anything you can use, you can calculate the value. Okay. Now for the compressive, instead of y bottom you are using y top, all other procedure is same. So you will just calculate. Once you get the value of W, you can directly substitute in the WL square by 8, that is nothing but 3125 into W, you will get the value of M max. That M max value I have used here 2.21.33 into 10 to the power of 6 is equal to sigma max into 9.6 into 10 to the power of 7 divided by 169.33. So with this we can able to calculate the maximum compressive stress acting on that beam. So this is another type of problem in which you have to, they will ask you to draw the bending moment diagram or bending moment of resistance diagram. So given problem is like this, the cast iron beam is of T section. Previously I have seen the problems of I section. So say, more or less you have L section, T section, I section and cylindrical section and hollow sections. Okay, hollow section means in terms of rectangle, in terms of circle. Okay, so circle problem is the first problem which we have solved in hollow sections. So the cast iron beam is of T section as shown in the figure. The beam is simply supported, here also they have given clearly simply supported for a length of 8. The beam is uniformly distributed load. Load is uniformly distributed. So the maximum bending moment will be nothing but M max is equal to WL square by 8. You have to remember this formula. Okay. So once you use that formula, you can able to get the moment. Since these are two different sections, so this is of two different sections, you have to identify the CG as well as you have to identify the moment of inertia for the whole section. So how to identify the CG? We know that y is equal to A1 y1 plus A2 y2 by A1 plus A2. Here I have solved y1 is equal to half of this length. If you take this as origin, okay, so about y distance if you take, that is half of this 80 meters, that is 40. A1 is equal to 40 into thickness, 80 into thickness is 20, so 1600 mm square. Next is y2 is equal to, when you are measuring y2, this 80 is already fixed from the origin. From here to here you have to travel anyhow to reach this point. So this 80 is fixed, 80 plus whatever thickness you are having here divided by 2. So 80 plus 10, that is 90. Okay, plus A2 is equal to 20 into 100, 2000 mm square. Y is equal to, you know the formula, A1 y1 plus A2 y2 by A1 plus A2. You will get the answer as 67.8. So you have taken this as origin, means your distance which you are obtained is from the bottom. Okay, so the top distance you can measure, but from the we can subtract it from total distance. Now CG moment of inertia I1 is equal to that Ixx plus AH square, where for section 180 is 80 cube into 20 divided by 12 plus 80 into 20 of 40 minus 67.8. What is this? 40 is nothing but the CG of the first section, that is nothing but y1 minus yc. Yc is nothing but the moment CG of that whole section, CG of the whole section, that is 67.78. we have taken that value. So I2 is nothing but Ixx2 plus A2H2 square. So you are going to get the value of I1 and I2. So now if you take I is equal to I1 plus I2, when you are having two or more sections, if it is the sections are added, means you have to add the moment of inertia. If sections are subtracted, then you have to subtract the moment inertia. Okay, moment of inertia. So when you have added here, you will get the value as 3.14 into 10 to the power of 6 mm power 4. Next is moment of inertia, moment of resistance. We know that when simply supported beam of UDL is known, the value will be WL square by 8, where W value is given as 1.5 into 10 to the power of 3 into 8 square by 8, whose value are going to get around 12,000 Newton meters, because the length you have taken here as meters. If you multiply that, you will get it as 12,000 into 10 to the power of 3 Newton mm. Okay. Now we know that M max, they have asked us to draw the diagram most probably. Let us see the questions once again. So they have told determine the maximum tensile and compressive, both they have told maximum tensile and compressive. Tensile section will be present at the bottom, so you have to take the bottom section. You have to take the bottom section for tensile force. For compressive force, here I have used sigma c. For compressive force, you have to use top flange or the top surface of the flange. Okay, so that's why I have used y top. Y top value you can calculate from the total whatever CG you have got, that is from the bottom of the element, bottom of the T section. If you want to get the top section, simple thing is measure the total distance, subtract from YC, you will get the distance. I have shown in this figure clearly. Okay, this is figure. In this figure, I have clearly mentioned that So from here the distance to the CG is 67.7. So total distance is how much? 80 plus 100, sorry, 80 plus 20 is 100. 100 minus 67.7 is 32.2. So in that way we have calculated. Once you got the values of sigma C and sigma T, 258.73 Newton per mm square and 123.06 mm square, you have to take that, you have to draw parallel to the T section in this way. So this is your tensile force, this is your compressive stress. This is your tensile stress, this is your compressive stress. Okay. Next is composite materials. We have composite beams. Already I have studied about composite materials. If it is a composite material, first condition which we have discussed is the deflection of the rod should be equal in both the beams since it is a composite. Okay. Then sigma 1 by E1 is equal to sigma 2 by E2, because here if lengths are same then lengths will be cancelled. The next thing is moment of resistance of the total structure will be equal to moment of resistance of the first element plus second element. But whereas in first unit what we have discussed, if it is a composite material, the deflections of both the materials will be equal and the load which has been applied will be distributed like this. P is equal to P1 plus P2. The same conditions here we are using. Here instead of using load, here we are using M1 and M2. And the thing which you have to remember in this composite sections is nothing but most of the time they will be giving you a modular ratio. What is this modular ratio? Is nothing but the modular ratio is defined as the ratio of Young's modulus of first element to second element. Moment of Young's modulus of first element, the ratio of Young's modulus of first element to second element. Moment of Young's modulus of first element to second element. Okay, here I have written E1 by E2, Young's modulus of first element by Young's modulus of second element. This is called as modular ratio. Okay, so let us see a problem in it. A finched beam consisting of wooden joist 10 centimeter wide. They have clearly said that it is having a wooden joist of 10 centimeter wide and 20 centimeter deep, strengthened by two steel plates 10 meter thick and 20 meter wide. The width of both is same. If the maximum stress in wood joist is 7 Newton per maximum stress in joist is given as 7 Newton per mm square, find the corresponding stress attached in the steel. Find also the moment of resistance in the composite material. Okay, this is what they are giving. So we know that the total deflection of the beam should be, the total deflection of the composite beam should be equal delta 1 should be equal to delta 2. For that we have got the relationship sigma 1 by E1 is equal to sigma 2 by E2, but whereas sigma 1 of the wooden block is given, E1 of the wooden block is also given here, E2 of wooden block is given here, sigma 2 can be easily identified. So condition 1 what we have told, delta 1 should be equal to delta 2, that is sigma W by EW is equal to sigma S by S, where is W is wood, S is steel. So if you substitute this value you will get the value of sigma S. You are getting the value as 140 Newton per mm square. Once you get this value you have to calculate for moment of resistance also. They have told us to identify the moment of resistance. We know that MT is equal to MS plus MW. For identifying MS, we have to go for moment of resistance formula. M by I is equal to sigma by Y. M by I is equal to sigma by Y. Okay. So M sigma value we have identified. Y value is nothing but you can take it from the CG. So here we have written I of steel is equal to 10 into 20 cube divided by 12 into 2. Y2 means it is of two sections. So steel here I have given on either side of the wood. So multiplied by 2, but whereas this Y is nothing but the YS is nothing but half of this distance. Since this is 20 centimeter, so the total length will be 200 mm. So half of it is nothing but 100. Okay, 200 by 2 is 100. So we have taken 100 value of Y max or Y thing. So from that you can calculate the value of MS, moment of resistance for steel. Similarly, for moment of resistance for wood is equal to whatever is the sigma they have given in the problem, they have given 7 Newton per mm square. So we have taken 7 by 100. In this also both the sections are of same height. So we will take it as 100 itself. 100 into now is 66.67. That is nothing but the moment of inertia. How we have calculated moment of inertia is from this BD cube by 12. Okay, which we are substituting and we are getting two values. We add just these two values, you are going to get the answer as 2332.69 kilonewton mm. So this is, in this way we have to solve the composite sections using moment of inertia formula. So always you have to remember whenever composite is given, the whole delta should be equal, either it is in terms of thermal stresses, either it is in the some problems of direct stresses, either it is in terms of pure bending. Okay, so most of the time the formula remains same. In thermal stresses also we have taken sigma 1 by E1 should be equal to sigma 2 by E2, or sigma by E is equal to sigma 2 by E2. Okay, same procedure we have followed here also. Okay, clear. So then let us see the next problem. A timber beam of 100 mm wide and 200 mm deep is reinforced. Reinforced means inserted. Reinforced means kept one inside the other. Okay, on two steel flitches each of 150 mm by 12.5. So whose length and thickness is given in section. Calculate the moment of inertia, moment of resistance. Following cases: flinch attached symmetrically at the top and bottom. They have clearly mentioned you. First thing you have to consider is that flitches, that is nothing but the flitches of steel. So whole wooden block is there. So I will draw the block here. So if it is a whole wooden block like this, so above it I am assembling one steel flitch. Above it also we have flitched one steel flitch. So this is on two sides. So this is on flitches attached symmetrically at top and bottom. Next is flitches attached symmetrically at the sides. The second question is attached sides means this way. Okay. So this is the first thing we have given. So in this they have given the allowable shear stress, that is allowable stress, that is sigma is given is 6 Newton per mm square. ES and ET, that is nothing but Young's modulus of steel and timber are given properly. So first condition when it is a composite is nothing but sigma delta 1 is equal to delta 2, that is equal to sigma T by ET is equal to sigma S by ES, where we know sigma S value or sigma T value whichever given in the maximum. So see here in the question, allowable stress in timber they have given. So I have to use sigma T value is known. So sigma S value we can able to identify, which we are going to get around 120 Newton per mm square. Now we have to identify neutral axis is the center, since they have clearly mentioned that the section is symmetric. When it is symmetric, obviously it will be equally distributed between the symmetric substances. The CG will be present exactly half of the element. So sigma S is at the bottom level, that is 100 mm from the neutral axis. Sigma S dash, what is the sigma S dash? Since this sigma S is because of the symmetric of the element, we are going to get this at the like this surface. This surface we are going to get sigma S. So exactly at this section you are going to get as bottom surface, you are going to get as sigma S. Sigma S at the top is nothing but you have to take the ratios of this modular ratio. In this way you have to take the ratio. Sigma S by 100 should be equal to sigma S by 1125. Why 1125? You are measuring the total distance. So what is this total distance? 200, 12.5 plus 12.5. What is the value? So in this what we are trying to do in simple way is nothing but, instead of taking the fletch here, I can cut the fletch and keep it upside. Since it is symmetric, we can take it as that way. Okay, that is the thing they are doing. So once they are taking the shear stress which we have got sigma S is at this surface of the steel, but whereas we want the sigma S at this surface. So again, so what is this total distance? 100 is from this surface to this surface. So that 115 is nothing but from here, from this point to the total distance, from the neutral axis to the total distance. What is the actual distance? If you see here, 100, 12.5 plus 12.5 is 25. 25 plus 200 is 225. 225 by 2 if you do, 225 by 2 if you do, you will get the answer as 225 by 2 if you do, you will get the answer as 112.5. So that in that way they have taken this. But whereas this is with respect to the relationship between the sigma S and sigma T, which you have got the value as at the flange, at the top surface of the flange. Okay, clear? So at the top surface you will get it as 112.5 from the neutral axis. How you are going to get sigma S star is nothing but you will try to calculate this. Sigma S by 100 into sigma S star by 112 into 112.5, you will get the value of sigma S. So whose value is around 135 Newton per mm square. Now moment of resistance M1 is equal to sigma star, because we are calculating for steel bar means sigma 1 by Y1 into I1, sigma 1 by I1 into 2 1. But whereas here we are having two plates of steel, we are directly calculating for two plates, Ixx1 into A1 H1 square, 2 into 150 into 12.5 the cube by 12 plus 150 into 12.5 plus of distance between that is nothing but distance is nothing but whatever the CG values you have got 106 you have got 106 okay y distance total distance from the surface, or similarly you can directly take it as from the origin from the top surface like this. So this is exactly 250 divided by 2, so which you are going to get it as 112.5, but whereas the CG for this is present at 6.25, so 112.5 minus 6.25, 112. Write it down, 112.25, whichever value you have seen here, 112.5. So this value minus CG of that small thickness is nothing but half of that is 12.5 divided by 2, that is 6.25. So what is there, H dash is nothing but you have to measure the CG of that particular substance from the overall CG, you have to subtract. So CG of that steel section is 6.25 minus overall CG is 112.5. So 6.25 minus 112.5 whole square we have done. Okay, so whose value you are going to get it as 106.2 the whole square. So if you substitute this value, you will get the value of M1 of steel. Similarly, M2 is sigma 2 Y2 into I2. Here 6, Y means sigma of 6, timber is given as 6, Y is 100 itself because its total length is only 200. So 100 into BD cube. Here while doing BD cube, the CG of the timber section is exactly matching with the what do I say, CG of the total section. CG of the timber is exactly matching the CG. You can go and check once again the diagram. If you go and check, so this is the timber, so this CG will be exactly matching with the CG of the timber, that is 100 from here, but whereas overall since it is symmetric, it is exactly at the half of the surface. So no need to apply the parallel axis theorem, directly we can go for 150 into 200 cube by 12. Even if you want to do, you can do plus A1 H square, where H value will going to get 0, H value you are going to get 0. So no need to do that value, and you can directly calculate the value of M2. So M total is nothing but M1 plus M2, where you have got the moment of resistance as 57.6 into 10 to the power of 6 Newton per mm square. In this way, we have to calculate the moment of resistance for the problems, either it is composite, either it is a T section, either it is a I section, or it is a hollow section. Whatever it may be, you have to remember moment of inertia first. We have discussed the moment of inertia formulas, we have seen section modulus formulas, I have given it in your first pages, so you can see the notes. I have showed you all the things section before teaching section modulus. I have given the moment of inertia, even I have given the y max values, how you have to take. So what is section modulus, we have discussed in last class. So using this, from these values you have to calculate the I value, then y max will be known from the surface, from the CG to the outermost flange or outermost surface. Either they will give you stress or they will give moment of inertia. If they give moment of inertia, if they give moment of resistance, they will ask you to find the stress. If they give stress, you have to identify moment of resistance, which is nothing but M. Okay, in this way we are going to solve this section. So next topic which we are going to discuss is about pure direct stresses and bending stresses. What is direct stress is nothing but the stresses which are because of purely load, that is nothing but axial loads, either it is compressive or tensile loads. Next is bending. Bending is nothing but bending stresses are because of the bending loads, either it may be a point load or a UDL load, whatever, because of this the bending is coming, that type of stress is called as bending stress. So we will discuss these problems in next class. Okay, so with this we will stop our today's lecture.